in there?
You bet.
Yeah, baby.
That's delicious.
Have you ever seen bioluminescent fungi? Those are, they glow in the dark. Yeah? There's, we have a couple up here. One of them's the jack-o'-lantern. Big clumps of mushrooms just glow. I mean, you walk down the path, it's like you've got jack-o'-lanterns, pumpkins set right out there. And we also see them down in Bolivia. The mycelium form little trails that glow, and insects will walk across, they'll find this little glowing trail, and they'll follow it right to where the mushroom is. And these mushrooms are like alive. It's like a bug disco. Terence McKenna, you know, the psychedelic guru, he had a theory that they were an alien life form, that they came from outer space somehow. All too easy to believe sometimes.
You know, I, years ago, used to hold the opinion, and still do in the privacy of my own heart, that this thing could have come from outer space. Not the mushroom per se, because we have a fossil record of mushrooms and so forth, although it isn't so good. It only goes back about 40 million years. How long have mushrooms been around? Since they're primary decomposers, you'd assume they've been around since the get-go, but the fossil evidence isn't there. Well, is it possible that a very sophisticated traveling gene of viral size inserted itself into this organism for some purpose beyond our ken? Because you see, to me, the miracle of psilocybin is the hallucinations, the vision, the information. I'm completely convinced that that stuff cannot come from me, and I'm a Jungian.
Almost midnight before the Brujo appears. He has practiced the secret and all but forbidden rites of the sacred mushroom for decades. Rites passed on from father to son for perhaps 4,000 years. To achieve spiritual union, our scientists also must eat the mushroom. A strangely aromatic root is burned, inhaled. The Brujo murmurs incantations in Chitina, a language unknown anywhere else on this earth. The first sound we hear as the chemical in the mushroom takes effect is laughter.
What is that?
This is mycelium with
pressed with spores from some kind of magic mushroom. I like them. Want one?
Sure.
I'll get one with a cap. Take that one. Yeah, that's a good one. Is this your first time here?
This is my first time here, yes.
And how do you like the Telluride Mushroom Fest?
It's good, man. It's great, man. I was trying to find the drums, man, but I didn't have much luck. I don't know where they migrated to, man, where they went. You know.
Terence McKenna talks about mushrooms as having been the catalyst for human consciousness, and he has a whole theory of this. And that when we came out of the trees, we went to the dung of the ungulates and turned them over as monkeys, and they still do this today in the savannas, and they'd pick out the mushrooms to eat. Well, since psilocybe species is coprophilic and lives on dung, they would pick out psilocybes. It turns out, in low doses, psilocybe increases visual acuity. So in a hunter-gatherer society, if you got better eyesight, you hunt better, you're selected for advancement. So people who ate the mushrooms advanced over time. It turns out you eat more of those mushrooms, you get kind of horny. And if you get kind of horny, you have more kids. So here you are, a better hunter, having more kids. And then if you take massive doses, which of course would happen sometime, that you see God. That's why we call it entheogen. So he says human consciousness developed that way. Well, whether that's true or not, I think mushrooms have had a huge important part to play in every culture that we've dealt with. And because of the psychotropic aspect of it, many cultures use them as the ally, the spirit ally, to take them to the other world. Psilocybin mimics the effects of serotonin in the brain. It also enhances the brain's perceptual system so that users often report trails and auras around existing sources of light. But the most important effects have to do with the deeper ideas and feelings that psilocybin generates in the user. Mushrooms have what the psychologist William James has called a noetic quality. They produce profound states of knowledge and insight. The outdoors, the setting of choice for a mushroom trip, is transformed so the forest feels more like a living, breathing cathedral, a forum for the deep appreciation of nature, through which the wondrous mushroom eater moves in a state of ecological grace.
I was in LA for a foray, and I was wandering around in one of the canyons looking for mushrooms. Two people came up to me and they said, do you know Gary Linkoff? And they said, well, they needed Gary Linkoff to help them find the fly agaric, Amanita muscaria, which they knew grew in that canyon. They were preparing themselves to leave the planet. And they said, well, they thought the muscaria, the fly agaric, would show them the way. They continued to talk, and I told them, you know, that's who I was. And the one guy says, listen, you have to come over to my place.